Hello, welcome to this video series where we're making this scene with less choppy screen capture. In video number 1 we created a train and added a bus. In the second tutorial video I added a bunch of texture and hills and wind to the terrain. This video is all dedicated to the sky, static skyboxes even though we don't use them, and the cloud animations you see here. So the best place to find skyboxes is Google. You can find tons of free ones. In fact, I found a really good one through going near Skybox Forest, because my scene's in a forest, and looking at Google Image. Really nice bunch of skyboxes here, which I highly recommend checking out if you go down the static skybox route and donating to a meal person if you do use them. Even though it's free, I always think donating really helps the community. So Emil has made a bunch of Scandinavian sounding skyboxes from forests. I'm going to go with this first one. There should be 6 images. So Emil is conveniently called the photos POSX, NegX. It's going to be useful in a second, but now import them to your project hierarchy and turn all your wrap modes into clamp. This will take Unity a second. Also in your project hierarchy, you want to right click, create a material. Click on your material, go from normal to skybox 6-sided. So what Emil has done is he's called all his photos NegX, POSX, and this is a really good naming convention, because now what we do is we go through our image library and we find the corresponding photos and drag them across to the skybox material. So we add our skybox to the main camera, click on my camera, and then add component skybox, and then drag the skybox material to that skybox, and you should see your background change. So in your project hierarchy in the bottom, if you click on the skybox material, you can also rotate it, find the right angle, the right background you want. These lines, by the way, that you see in the background is because I didn't clamp all of the 6 images, so make sure you do that as well if you go with this method. And as you can see, you can get some very beautiful results. We're not actually going to go for this method. What we're going to do is we're going to not go for a 6-sided textured skybox. So if you click on skybox, and instead of going to 6-sided, we're going to use atmospheric. You can already see some of the big differences you can make if you play around with atmospheric thickness and sun size and different exposure. I'm going to move and rotate the directional light so you can see it on my scene. And now that I've got it in position, I'm going to rename directional light to sun, because that's literally how I'm using it in this scene. So in the textures option, I can adjust the sun size, and this is my favorite effect. If you mess with the rotation of the sun, you can change it from night to day to dusk to dawn. It looks great. So I wanted to add some clouds to the scene, and after some googling I found this simple cloud system that you can get for free in the Unity asset store, but again I'm going to donate to this artist because it's such a great system. So this is all in the instructions of the package, but I'll do it so you can see. So you need to create a sphere and scale the sphere to cover the entire terrain. Within the imported cloud system project, you should find some textures. I like this one, and if I import it over, the sphere becomes textured. This is our scene at the minute, static clouds that overlap our atmosphere. So to get the clouds moving, in the scene there's a JavaScript file, which I'll change to C# in a second, which we drag to our sphere. And if we click on sphere to look at it in the inspector, under script we can change the cloud speed. I'm going to move that to 3. Click play, we have some moving clouds, as you can see. So finally, really simple to see the atmosphere in the background, we can go to the texture, so that's a dcloud 3, we go to skybox, no we don't, we go to mobile, platforms, and multiply. And then we can see our atmospheric skybox poking through behind the moving clouds. So there you go, our scene is created without a line of code. Now if you're a perfectionist like me and it bothers you to have a JavaScript file in what is a C# project, we'll walk you through how to make the C# version of this moving clouds script right now. So let's have a look at what that looks like in our code editor. So there's some business at the bottom around targeting a player, but this line I'm highlighting now, that will actually just work straight into C# if we throw it into a script. So let's copy that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new C# file in my scripts folder. So I've called my new script cloud rotation. And if I double click and open that up in my code editor, I can paste in right in the update, which means that happens per frame, the rotation transform. So if you play that, you'll get an error. We need to do one final thing. what is happening is we're rotating in the x direction, time delta multiplied by what I'm calling a public float, the cloud speed, which we need to set like we did in the JavaScript file. So if we create that, save it, then we need to add the script, so components script to the sphere. So now if I play the scene, obviously the old script is still working, so I'm going to disable that. You'll see the clouds have stopped working, and so if I change the cloud speed to 3, there we go, that means our script is working. So we can then unplay and remove SCS JavaScript script because we now have a C# script. So that's the scene created, and the next multi-part video series will all be about UI.